Hi, good morning, good evening, depends on where you are. I'm Irene Wong, a co-owner of a ballroom dance shop called Dancewear Works and a poem dancer for 16 years. I'm your host for Everything Ballroom, this channel. Our goal is to share the joy and benefit of ballroom dancing and to share this amazing industry and hope people learn more about it. I hope you like what we are doing here. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel Everything Ballroom. Today, I'm very excited to have this guest in our show. She is a multi-US and world champion in all three styles of dancing: American Smooth, International Latin, and Cabaret, which is exhibition show dance. That's one of the dances I really want to do. She also published her book, Dance and the Creative Couple, which combined her work as a psychotherapist and working with couples and her use of symbolizing dance as a metaphor for connection in relationships. We're going to learn more about that as well. She is definitely one of my inspirations in dance world. I hope she'll give that to you as well. I can't wait to invite this guest to our today's show, Sophia D'Angelo. Let me spotlight you. Welcome, Sophia.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And
Thank
what
you.
you're doing is really amazing. So thank you for giving us the platform to even share. Thank
Thank you
you.
for spending your time and joining us. Before we start, I do want you to share with the audience a little bit about yourself and how you start the ballroom dance world, and also tell us a fun fact maybe not many people know about you.
Okay. So very quickly, I know that we don't have a ton of time, so I would just say that a little bit about myself is that I just turned 60. So that to me feels like a very big, big moment in my life. I have three kids. They're in their 30s, early 30s. And I have a husband, and I've been married 36 years.
Wow,
So that's
amazing. I don't know what you were going to guess that.
right. So those are the basic demographics of who I of my sort of that. And as you said, yes, I'm a psychotherapist, and I work with all sort of groups of people, families, and individuals. But my main focus is our couples. Um, I'm from Chicago originally. I live both in Los Angeles and in Washington, D.C. And so that's a little bit about me in terms of like demographics. And how I started ballroom is a kind of a kind of a funny story, which is just that uh, when I was growing up, on PBS, there was the basically like the Ohio Star Ball, and my grandma loved it. And she was an immigrant. She did not speak any English, but that was what she loved to watch. And I would sit on a big chair with her and eat my bowl of cottage cheese and watch this PBS show. And I remember going to sleep at night, imagining what it might be like to move like that, or just dance with a man and sort of float. And then I danced throughout my whole life, in different genres and different ways, and schools and this and that, but always had that in the back of my mind. And one day when I was with my oldest daughter, I think when she was a professional dancer, I was sitting with another mother, and the mother told me about something. She said, people get dressed up in these ball gowns and they compete, and it's sort of this world of ballroom dancing. And I perked up and I said, "Excuse me, like what? They do this?" And so to move the story along, basically, I found out where she went and what studio she went to. I lived in Washington, D.C., and went into Virginia and walked in, and then was hooked, and that's about 17 years ago. So that's
Wow, your story is so much similar to mine.
I think a lot of people find it sort of through the back alley, if you would say, not really knowing they're going to find it, but then they do. And then once you do, you kind of get hooked because, if you're into music or movement or anything, it's such a great experience.
I know I can't explain this to many people. I can only say something. Just try, because I didn't know anything when I stepped into the studio. Since my kids are going to school, I also have 3 kids in Chinese school. I had 3 hours, have nothing to do. I'm walking in and stepping into the studio. That was 16 years ago. I'm hooked. I'm here passionately talked about this. So I just want to make sure everybody should just come in and give it a try. So now I was like, you have been doing this quite a long time. And you mentioned that you have a lot of dance experience. But I also know that you have a different professional partners, right? So how do you choose your professional partner or dance teachers
Yeah.
to get you to where you will be? Because I believe, you find the right one is so important. What is the tips what are the selection criteria for you to find a teacher? Or do you just be lucky to find someone, or it's a process for you to get to who you
I mean, I think it matters on where you're located in the world. Sometimes it is luck, and sometimes there's very few people. I know my friends in certain parts of the country or the world really don't have a lot of choices, and then there's places in the country and in the world where it's just a plethora of people. So, for me, I think, starting out, it was just who was in the dance studio, and that's how that happened. And then as you get educated about like what you could do and the possibilities, and then you're going to the events and you're watching people dance, and you think, oh my goodness, well, wow, I would really like to dance like that, and I'd like to really dance like with a person like that. And then so I think it's a step. You're always stepping. So I've gone through different partners for different reasons, and they were all great in the moment that I had that we were together. They were all actually what I needed, and who and they were right. And then something maybe happens, and these are relationships that like in any relationship, you don't sort of know, is it really going to work? Does it jive? Do our personalities match? Does it not feel very comfortable? Is he more, is he tougher on me than I really need, or is he not tough enough and I need more? Or so I think it's like that. And so when the person I've been with the longest is Maxinitsa, and so we're almost 10 years together, and he so I can speak about that, because it's really a profoundly important relationship for me as a dancer and as a partner and as a friend and part of our family. I mean, that was really, I watched him dance, and I didn't know him, but I thought, that's how I wanted to partner somebody. That's how I wanted to dance. And his personality matched mine. And doesn't mean that there aren't really, tough moments or edgy moments or things like that, but 98% is a really, it's a good relationship. And so are all the other partners, Victor and everybody. So, by the way, I know you asked a fun fact, which I didn't answer, and I thought to myself, this part I really wanted to share, because it's really a funny fact, which is that even though I had danced most of my life in different ways, what I really wanted to be when I was a little girl and through high school was to be like a famous flute player. So I studied all over the world. And I don't know, people maybe in the United States or maybe other places in Europe, whatever, would know Dizzy Gillespie. Or so these are like, it was like a jazz. So I was a jazz flautist, and that was my I really, really, really wanted to do that. Went to camps, went to school, went to all that kinds of stuff. But that was I mean, I got pretty far, but I think the dancing, I needed to sort of move my body. But anyway, so that's a fun fact.
Maybe you can do both. Sometime we're going to see your
Well, I
performance.
still play. I mean, I still play, but I don't, play like that. But I love it because I think it's like singing. I like it. I like playing the
It's
flute.
Yeah, so artsy. So I think that the arts help our brain a lot. So that shows
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
So this is a wonderful. So selection partner, really, it depends on where you are, and then be
Yeah,
comfortable, and then fit your personality and your inspiration and goal. So that's the most
yeah.
important.
I
So
think
ask yourself and don't look elsewhere. Internalize for the relationship.
yeah, you have to know more of yourself, and and don't be dismayed if it doesn't work. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all about you. It's about the relationship of things. Like it's not always a perfect match, just like anybody you've ever been with in your life. It's not always a perfect match.
Right. And also I have talking to some of the dancers. So I also encourage you if that doesn't work, it doesn't work, you always have a problems, then go try something new. So it may not be a bad thing. So, I'm
Yeah.
not telling you not to be loyal, but it's sometimes it
No,
really,
no, it's not about loyal. It's really about advocating for oneself. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. It's all right. And you should it's I think I've talked to so many of my girlfriends and people like really their hearts have been broken and it's so painful. You get so connected. But the truth is that if it doesn't work, it's not okay, and you should always know that and it's really true when one door closes, another opens. So you never know what someone's really going to give you that you didn't expect they would give you. And when I left one teacher and went to Max, I didn't realize uh, the doors that would open that it would be right like that. So
yeah, I want to add this because like what you said, I talked to so many friends, they had the same problem. So because they invest so much and then they didn't want to give away, but they are not in the right place. So this is a very good tips. And also you have been winning so much in the competitions. Any tips and suggestions so to share with the fellow dancers?
yeah, I mean, I think what I'd want to share is the most vulnerable part of me. So I think, it doesn't make any sense for me to sort of, I mean, you win some, you lose some, it happens all the time. But I'm going to just tell this one little thing, which is that I had a really, yes, I mean, I had really a lot of years of winning, and then something didn't happen right, and I wasn't feeling right. And there's a thing called the yips, and I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's what baseball players get. And it's when baseball players, who have been really winning, doing well, they're great throwers, whatever, they've been on a winning team. And then all of a sudden the pressure gets too much and everyone expects you to win no matter what. And then you start doubting yourself. You're like, I don't even know why I would win. Why would I win? And maybe I'm not as good as I am. And oh, I made that mistake. And the better that you get, the more pressure people sort of put on you to be even better. And they sort of look at you like make one false move and it's over. And that kind of pressure can feel kind of overwhelming, even though it's not something I'm making money at or doing, or it's not my career. But I've put a lot of time and a lot of sacrifices into it. So I started getting this thing called the yips, which was that I couldn't even dance. I couldn't walk out on the floor. I couldn't I couldn't move. I froze. I forgot everything. I just wasn't myself. And it was the most frightening thing I've ever experienced. And poor Max had to stand in front of me wondering who was he looking at. And so believe it or not, I searched out Simone Biles therapist,
Oh,
and they helped me like recover completely. And this was just in this year. And we won the world and the US after. And I remember when we won it, I said to Max in his ear, I said, I think I just climbed Mount Everest. Because I couldn't walk out on the floor. I literally couldn't walk out on the floor. It just froze. My feet wouldn't move. And so I was just too, something just got to me. And I think one of the things about anything where you feel pressure is, I would just say this one thing, which is that you stay very, very present in your own body and you focus on what you're doing and the person in front of you and not anything else around you. Nothing. Not only the beat of the music, the sound of not even the lyrics of the music, but the beat of the music, what you and he have agreed to, the counts, and you focus and you get really fine tuned. So that I came out of it, but it was a hard, it was.
Who would know? We watch you dance and we would not know, right? Because a lot of winners have so much pressure. So I think it's a lot of time the pressures is, I talk about that with Ambers, right? So when I feel like I have a chance to win, I always did so bad. When I feel like I don't have a chance to win, I just go down and enjoy. I actually won. So it's kind of the mental.
So it's the focus. It's about being very present in yourself. I can't, so it goes the wrong way for me. If I just enjoy myself, then I lose all focus. I can't really just do that, but I have to be very like, just, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do at the time I'm supposed to do it. And that works better for me. So
Yeah, everyone is different, but I mean, enjoy myself, just focus on dancing to the music with the partner. So that's the enjoyment now
being
for me.
present. Yeah, that's being present. Yeah.
Yeah, with me, it's that I'm focused dancing, not, focus on that to me is the enjoyment of dancing, right?
Yeah.
So feeling the music, feeling the partner, feeling
Yeah.
the dancing. And, now I found this is most enjoyable and don't worry about winning or lose. So,
Right.
that's
Right.
perfect.
Right.
So we talked about you have wrote the book, right? Why you write this book and what you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I wrote the book Dance and the Creative Couple, and I wrote the book because as a psychotherapist working with couples, I realized that while I was working with couples, uh, or actually, I'll say it this way, while I was dancing, with my partner, I was realizing that there were so many similarities to what it's like to be in a relationship with someone. So I'll say it like this, so I'll give you an example. Any kind of contact, physical contact, touching hands, looking at eyes, communication, movement of your body. So things that happen in relationships where it feels like it's not really working well, it's not rhythmically connected. And when I would be dancing, I would realize, like, if I was off time, what was going on? If I was anxious about waiting, for those of us who are women in this and sort of following, I would say, we always feel like we're waiting, and the waiting can create some anxiety. What am I waiting for? And who am I waiting for? And women also, most of us at our age, are very self-actuated. So we're women who are like, I'm not waiting, I'm taking charge. So oftentimes I would have my partner would say, you're dancing by yourself. You're dancing alone. Like, what's my job if you're just dancing by yourself? But as a woman, of around my age, and in our age group, we really are more self-actuated, and we're strong. But that doesn't work in this particular genre. It doesn't work that way. So I started to write the book by trying to help my couples while I work with them in a therapy room, try to use the symbols of dance, of what it's like to wait for someone, what it's like to feel someone's hand, what it's like to connect, to what is it to look into someone's eyes, to have communication in that way. So it was really like it was just a labor of love. It wasn't about trying to sell a million books or anything of that sort. It was really something I wanted to speak about by putting both my worlds, the psychotherapy world and the dance world together.
I
And
hope, sorry, go ahead.
no, so it happened. So it's called Dance and the Creative Couple. Yeah.
So I'm hoping this will help a lot of couples. Whatever you're saying is really amongst my friends. I can see all these things happening, right? So hopefully your books and the dancing, actually, I talked to some of the couples, really dancing really bring them closer together as well, once they diagnose what it is.
Right, right. Well, there's
To
a lot to learn about yourself. What makes you worried? What makes you anxious? What makes you feel really cared about? All of those things are part of, and that's why people get really hooked into ballroom dancing. Is I think they get a sense of a connection of another person. And it's either incredibly boundaried or it's not, or whatever happens. But I think that it's in most cases it feels very close to what relationships are, so you get to sort of work through it. Anyway, so that's my thought about it.
Thank you for sharing that. And I know that you have another big project going on.
I do.
And
I
tell
do.
us about
I
that.
did. Well, this is actually, it's kind of cute. We so when COVID hit and we were in quarantine, I got really, really anxious about how was I gonna stay in shape and how was I gonna move and what in the world was I gonna do all day. And as my son said to me, he said, "Mom, I've never seen you bored, and seeing you bored is really making me worried." So I created a class that was it was called Sculpt and Tone for the ballet body, but now it's changed into a dancer's body. And so we gathered together all ballroom dancers and some judges, some women who are judges, and some very close friends, and Sabrina Nirchi and Joe Smith, and just a lot of people, and Suzanne and Missy White and everyone. And so we all got together, and about 30 of us started. And so we met 3 to 4 days a week for, I would say, a total of 3 years. Went down to like 2 days a week, it would be pop-up classes, but we stayed together. And so now I'm going to go on demand online for Sculpt and Tone for a dancer's body. And those women are going to support me in pulling that online. And so it'll be an exercise class that you can that you can subscribe to, or pull up on YouTube. So we're currently taping.
So I will put that link once you're live
Yeah.
for all the audience and help promote it. Thank you so much. So any thought you want to share to our competitor dancer audience, before we open the mic to the audience?
No, I mean, I guess the one thing I want to share is that I think there's really a myth about this concept of champion. And I think, I, I think I think people's experience of who they are as a champion and other people's experiences is a subjective sport. So people who, something happens and they're so phenomenal and they don't, it's not their night, or they weren't that good and it is their night. I think I think it can be a myth. And I want to take that myth away, because I think that it's not important. The champion part isn't important. The word isn't important, because there are everybody has a talent out there that's unique and special. And the fact that any of us are getting out there and doing what we do and spending the money we spend and putting this effort out there, I think everyone should really feel like a champion for what they are doing in their life. Sometimes it's winning number one, sometimes it's just placing someplace. And so I sort of take task with the concept of champion. So I just
Thank you
think
so
it's a stance. Yeah.
That is a lot from a champions. So, but we always talked about that to my friends, right? Actually everyone in the ballroom dance world, so be able to have courage to get on the dance floor and compete. It is a champions. I echo you on that, and everyone should pat on our own shoulder and make sure we cheer for ourselves. And that's wonderful. Thank you for, ending with this high. So now I open for the audience. Anyone have a questions can raise your hand. I will go to unmute you. Anyone? Carol, okay, I will ask to unmute. You need to unmute yourself.
This is going to sound like something you've heard a million times, I'm sure, but oftentimes it brings out something interesting when I'm talking to someone. If you could go in a time machine and talk to yourself maybe 5 years into your pro-am career and give yourself some advice, what would you say? Think about how you felt after you'd been doing some competing for a while and you knew you were moving up to a new level or you were at a new stage. What would you say?
I love that. I love that question because when I think about 5 years in, God, I remember that so well, and I think that I think in some way it's a hard question because I think in some ways I was because of my dance background, I think people were trying to like break me down and sort of, wonder why I would do stupid things with my body or whatever. And so I felt really stupid and bad, and I thought like I couldn't get it, and I'm a perfectionist, so it really bothered me. And so I guess I would have said like that I would have relaxed a little bit more and realized like I'm really doing just fine. Like who the hell does this, at 42 or whatever, it took bravery and courage to even do something like that. So I think I would just really relax a little bit and be a little kinder to myself and say, it's okay. I know that heel leads felt really stupid. So, and at that time I was doing rhythm and not Latin, but anyways, yeah, I think I'd be kinder to myself.
This is also helpful because I've been with Randy 2.5 years now, and this was the first year that I danced any open at all. But I was just chomping at the bit to get to open because I'm an older dancer and I didn't want to die before I got to open. I wanted to get, and he's very cautious and traditional. And he's like, well, you don't have the perfect this and you don't have the perfect that. And I'm like you, very much a perfectionist. I mean, I tutor kids in writing, and I want them to know all the rules before they start breaking them. And then I want them to break them. And I wanted to get good enough with the rules that I could start doing my own thing. But when was that going to occur? And would I still be alive? And he was there saying, but don't forget about me. I'm your partner. You're not looking at me. You're not converging with me. You're not like converging with you. I have to fix myself first. So just recently, someone wrote or said, because I don't think of myself as a competitive person, but of course you compete because you get feedback and you sort of know where you are, in the world. We do that just with our peers about anything in life, unconsciously even. But I thought, okay, I'm going to stop thinking about competing and I'm going to start thinking about performing. And if I'm performing smooth, and the reason I love it is because I go out and I come back and we diverge and we converge, then there's a partner here and I need to start, relating to him. And he's a perfectly wonderful partner. This is just my problem. So everything you're saying today is really right where I
That's what basically the book is about, because the more I hear you say that is also what we do with our partners, with our, and you don't have to be married to have a partner. It could be, you know, anybody in your life, but people who are you're in relationship with, sometimes you forget that they're there, and that you have to connect with them, and they need something from you.
Right. Right.
Everybody,
Exactly.
everybody needs something from you.
I said to him in the beginning, you don't know me. And I said, you seem like a very soft-spoken person. I want you to tell me when I'm not doing something right or when I could do more or whatever. Because one of the things I love about Olga, she's always like, more, more, more. And I need that. And it took him a while to trust that, to not think I was just going to fall apart if he said, you know, you're not, you got to close your thighs. You know, oh, I forgot about that. So, you know, I do think it takes a while, but I think that it was mostly on me to just do what you're saying, to relax into this partnership and to, as Irene said, enjoy it for Pete's sake, because it is a tremendous sacrifice. And if I'm not having fun, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Really appreciate that. Any other questions? Okay, anybody raise hands? No. And then if not, we'll close this. Okay, so remove the spotlights. And thank you for joining our Everything Ballroom YouTube channel. If you like what we doing, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And next time, we'll have other dancers. Joanne Smith has agreed to join us, and I can't wait to talk to her. Thank you so much and have a good day. The YouTube stop.